Welcome to Breakfast with Spaniels with Dr. Judy Morgan.
I got kitties bathing everywhere. It's the after breakfast bath. Morning, Joan. You're the first to comment. I know, I'm a little late today. I'll get up earlier in the summer when the sun comes up earlier and it's warm out. Snowy in Vermont. Ugh. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's going to be cold this weekend here, though.
Remember,
but no snow.
All of Dr. Morgan's products at her website at www.drjudymorgan.com.
Good morning from Latvia. I saw cold there. Man, oh man. Don't envy you at all. So I want to talk about a consultation I did yesterday that was really, really interesting. So it was this little 7-pound Chihuahua. And he started his life on a farm in Texas, I believe. And hi, honey. He's outside with dogs. And he had a little doggy door and he could go outside and run around with all the other animals and race around to his heart's content. And he was purchased, adopted, whatever, by a woman who lives in Pennsylvania. And she lives in a townhouse or apartment and does not have a yard. And so for the first year or two, it was just him and her, and she would take him to the park where he could race around and, best buddies, that sort of thing. He's a happy little guy. And then he got a sibling, a girl Chihuahua, who is alpha. She's the boss. And so he kind of took the back seat. And when they went to the park, it would be the two of them going to the park together. And then recently he got another sibling, a little girl puppy who was actually from the same parents as him. And she's about 6 months old. And of course, she's a typical Chihuahua puppy, race around, carry on, be bossy, and hoards the toys. So this little guy went from being a kind of a free range farm dog racing around to now he lives with a bunch of cranky women who tell him what to do. And he doesn't have a yard where he can race around like crazy. And I think he's about 5 years old now. So every 6 to 12 months, mom takes him in for his physical exam and gets lab work run on him. And she sent me his lab results for his ALT, which is a liver enzyme. Normal's up to 118. And so the first time it was run, it was 95. And the next time it was 103. And the next time it was 116. And now it's 121. Now remember, normal's up to 118. So 99.99% of the veterinarians and pet owners in the world would say, still normal, looking good. But this owner said, he's trending upward. Every time I have this done, it's up a little more and a little more. And now we're creeping out of the normal range. Why is this happening? So she had an abdominal ultrasound done. Believe me, this owner is very in tune with her dogs and very attached to them. And so she had an ultrasound, perfectly normal. So we know he doesn't have a liver shunt, which is common in small breeds. So we know he doesn't have a liver shunt, and we know that he doesn't have an anatomical problem that is causing this liver enzyme to slowly creep upward. So we looked at her diet, and she's actually feeding a really good diet. She has a great rotation with warming and cooling proteins, great rotation with moisture, some gently cooked, a little tiny bit of kibble, and it's a decent one, and a little bit of canned food, a little bit of home cooked. So great rotation. And she said, well, what am I doing wrong with his diet? I said, his diet's not causing this. You're not doing anything wrong with his diet. So I recommended adding a few liver drainers in there. So we're going to add some asparagus, some daikon radish, some dandelion greens. Really, it's whatever she can get in frozen tundra of Pennsylvania right now. So we talked about maybe for the dandelion, we could use encapsulated dandelion root powder or something like that. So, talked about a few little tweaks to his diet where actually she's going to make a veggie mix of the things that we talked about. She'll saute them, chop them up, and then put them in ice cube trays. And then that way she can just pop out one little ice cube each meal to add to his veggie mix so that she's not doing a lot of prep work all the time. Because he only needs, he eats 1.2 ounces twice a day. I can't imagine having, dogs that I feed like a speck of food. So I said, okay, well, it's not the diet, and it's not a toxin, and it's not anything anatomical. So we got talking more about his emotional state. And that's how I got all the information about his siblings and where he came from and what he's doing now. And so what's happening with this little guy, this was actually really cool. What's happening is that he's got liver qi stagnation from frustration. He's very frustrated. He doesn't get to play with the toys because everybody else hoards them. He doesn't get to run free by himself like he used to and have a big yard where he could just go in and out and romp around all the time. And Mom said if she ever has goes on a date and has someone come back into the house with her, he gets really upset with that too. Like he'll hide. He really doesn't like men coming in. He really likes his little world to be very routine. So that probably means he's a metal personality, but he's got liver qi stagnation. And so if this owner was not on top of this and wasn't so concerned about these little tiny changes in his lab work, and if she wasn't watching that trend, she wouldn't have known. And her traditional veterinarian and the specialist who did the ultrasound looked at her like she was crazy when she said, hey, what can I change with the diet? What's causing this trend? And they were like, he's perfectly normal. What's your problem? But after we talked about it, I said, oh no, there's a problem here. And if we don't fix this emotional problem, and this was allowed to go on for years more without any changes, this guy would have huge problems. So we're going to make some diet changes, but she's also going to make some changes in his routine. He's going to get to go to the park by himself where he can run off leash a little bit, where he can have some me and mom time. She did buy some puzzle toys. The problem is he doesn't get to play with the puzzle toys because everybody else hoards the puzzle toys. He reminds me of our George. So when we put out a puzzle toy, George does all the work to get the treats out of there because he's really motivated. And then Shayna swoops in and steals them, and he never gets the reward. And that's really frustrating for these little guys. And George is our little guy who's just a friendly, happy little guy, but he went into acute liver failure 2 years ago. And I'm worried that her little guy could do something very similar if this wasn't addressed. So we're going to try some flower essences, and we are going to change his diet, little tweaks to try to drain things a little bit. And we're going to change up his emotional routine and see how that helps him over, the next few months. And next time she has lab work done, she'll send that to me, and we'll see if we're trending in a different direction or if we're still going up, in which case we may add some more herbal support to his diet. So really, yeah. So that's what we talked about. We're gonna let him have toys to himself. And so she got a goat horn for the puppy, a lamb horn for the puppy. Well, the puppy loved it, but what she didn't realize is everybody would want one. And I said, well, here's the thing. You can buy 3. So she did. She already has them ordered. So you can buy 3, but if it's like our house, we have 4 dogs. I put out 4 lamb horns. Shayna steals them all, hoards them. She doesn't have any teeth. She doesn't even chew them. She just hoards them and snarls at anybody who comes near them. And we used to have that when we would give raw meaty bones. everybody had to be in their own room with their own space or in a crate so that they wouldn't be bothered and frustrated and they wouldn't steal. So you really have to pay attention to the emotional conditioning of your animal. And this is where holistic medicine is really important, because we could look at this guy's emotional state and figure out what was causing the physical changes secondary to his emotional issues. So really fun case. I really enjoyed it. I told her I was going to talk about him on Facebook Live. So, yep, have to separate them when they play with lamb horns. Yeah. So, and most battles, fights that dogs have, with sibling rivalry, it's generally over food or treats or toys or over the owner. So I had a client once who had a couple of Dobermans. I think she had 3 or 4 actually. And the dogs got along fine. If she wasn't home, it was very peaceful. But if she was home sitting on the sofa and one dog came over to sit by her on the sofa, another dog would come over and beat that dog up. And it was really just vying for the owner's attention. So you really have to pay attention to the interactions between the dogs and what it is that they're vying for your attention, vying for a toy, vying for a treat, be very vigilant with that. Okay, we still have to go to the barn and feed because I'm really behind schedule this morning. So everybody have a wonderful day. And we started a page for the farm. It's called Fine and Dandy Acres. If you want to follow along with what's going on at the farm, Hugh did some videos on the construction that we're going to be trickling out over the next few days. Got plumbing roughed in yesterday that's going to be under the slab. So very, very cool to watch what these guys are doing. Really precise. Pretty amazing. They're standing there with the blueprints, measuring things and getting it all perfect. And I've never seen anything from the ground up. So it's really cool. Really cool. Where's the blog for DCM? I have like 6. Just go to my website, drjudymorgan.com. In the little magnifying glass in the upper right corner, just type in DCM, hit enter. Whole bunch will come up. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
You can purchase all of Dr. Morgan's products at her website at www.drjudymorgan.com. Now it's time to sit